Hey everybody, welcome to our YouTube channel, Chris and Angel, where you're about to see part 2 of how we became best friends again. If you haven't seen part 1, the cutoff, the link for it is down below in the description. Well, alright, part 2 starts right now.
I guess the next part of the story is how we got gradually reconnected.
Yeah,
actually, it kind of started
with a
butt dial, and it happened in the fall of 2019, so almost like exactly a year ago. And yeah, so almost exactly a year ago this happened. I was going through a lot of things.
me too.
I'm gonna tell you briefly because eventually it's going to be, we have so many topics to talk about, like about life experiences and as well as happy things. But I'm gonna be real, you know, the church that I was involved in for a year, up till exactly a year ago, they turned against me. And also one of my closest friends was part of that. She was involved with the same church that I was going to. And also the other friend at the time, I don't know, I don't feel like she was as supportive. So I felt really alone. Like the only people that really had my backs were my closest friends in Boston. They're still in Boston. Hey Abner, hey Beth, hey.
Yo.
They had my backs, but I really felt alone. And also I was going through, I feel like, a spiritual attack at the time. So it just wasn't a good time. And one day I was in my last apartment in Boston. Loved that apartment. And Chris butt dialed me, and I answered hello, and she immediately hung up. And then
I didn't want to get any hit because I was like, oh no.
And she messaged me and she said, oh, so sorry, I butt dialed you. And to be honest, like, that kind of made me happy. Like, I felt like when that happened, I was like, hold on a second. I just feel like God is telling me that we're somehow gonna reconnect again soon. And I mean, in that moment, I kind of wanted to reconnect because throughout last year, child, you think 2020 got us this year? Mine started last year, the beginning of 2019. Exactly.
Same.
And we'll get into that. So I was so happy when she messaged me. And to be honest, I was going through a breakup, and you know, the church turning against me, and I wouldn't say Chris was going through the same exact thing, but she was also going through this difficult time. You can explain.
One of the best men in my life, my wonderful man of God grandfather, had passed away as soon as we left South Carolina, because he was in South Carolina, you know. And
when did he pass away?
He passed away January 23rd, either 21st or 23rd, one of those.
And guess what? Sorry to interrupt. I know I talk a lot. If I interrupt, because I love talking. I'm sorry. I love talking.
Don't see.
But let me jump in. When her grandfather died, I was going through the first breakup. Like the first boyfriend I had, and that devastated me. So keep going.
Yeah, which, look, I'm gonna keep my Christianity composure right now, which you said. But anyways, no, cause
that would be another subject.
Yeah. Quick comment: if I was still in the best friends with her, it would be. It would be a downhill. I'll probably lose my Christianity real quick, and that person would be out of existence. But anyways.
Oh, we'll get into that another day.
We will. But he passed away, and how it happened was like as soon as we got home, my dad called me and was like, something's going wrong with your grandfather. And, my mom was like, oh, I gotta go back. So I was like, whoa, to the fact that we just left and she gotta go back. So she went back. And then, a couple weeks later, I get a call from my mom again. She's like, oh, well, this is not looking good. I told my mom, I said, don't say that to me, And then, this was worse in my end because I was waking up to go to school that morning. And I had my backpack, and as soon as I opened the door, my dad opened the door, and he looked at me, he paused, he gave me the most longest pause, and I knew that wasn't good, and I said, don't look at me like that, do not look at me. He said, I'm sorry, it's gone. And immediately I was like pounding my dad's shit. I said, stop saying that. And my little sister in the background was like bawling her eyes out. And that's when I knew like it was like real. But you have to understand, like this, I'm telling you, this man, when I mean he was in the Word, I'm not talking, even though he knew the whole entire, like he can close the Bible and know all 66 books, seriously. But not only does he know the Word, but he'll even tell you like how it involves in your life and everything. And when I go to South Carolina, like he would just give us guidance and wisdom about this stuff. Like it's just, and my mom would pass it down. So that's why it's just so important to me, and it really hit me so hard. And I was like, oh, first my best friend.
And this all happened in 6 months. Time.
In 6 months.
And same with the breakup that I had.
Right.
And I was going through depression. Actually, my mom was so worried about me. She would call me during her break. Yeah. And it was really bad. So it's like we were kind of going through, I guess, pain together. Different types of pain, but literally.
It's almost like I would say, in the Bible it says iron sharpens iron, and like our knives are like dull, but it's almost like we both have our wounds and it clashes together, and so it's like we just came back after both of us had our situation, you know what I mean? And so I was like, when I heard this, at first I was like, my best friend just left me, now you telling me my grandfather died, what the frick? And I was mad, like the first time in a long time I was yelling to God, like, what the freak is going on? You just took like people that meant so much to me away. You know what I mean, I ain't gonna say you did it, but like, but I knew that her situation was for a reason, and I'm just like, okay, alright. And that's when I opened the Bible, and I swear to you, I just like went to the page, and the first verse that I saw was Habakkuk chapter 2:3, and it says, for the revelation awaits the appointed time, it speaks of the end and will not prove false. Though it linger, wait for it, and it will clearly come and will not delay. And when I was like, wow, it's like his time will always be the right time. Yeah. He's not going to just hand it to you easy. Some things he's not going to give you to you easily. You have to have the faith and just really believe that God's going to take it. He just said, give it to him, Mm-hmm. And I just I just have to let go, and the rest is history.
Yeah, so after that butt dial, then she texted me during Thanksgiving, and when she texted me, I actually started crying because usually I spend Thanksgiving the past 2 years with the churches I went to. So literally I felt like I had no one, and I went to my uncle's place, but my cousins weren't there because they're in college. And so I was literally in my room, and she messaged me that day, and like,
I have the text too.
Yeah, like, happy Thanksgiving, so blessed that you're still here and everything. And to be honest, like, I broke down and I started crying, and I messaged back and I'm like, I'm so sorry, like what a horrible friend I was. Like I felt really bad, like legit deep down, and like the guilt. And in a way, I think if you have a genuine heart, like eventually, for me, like that cannot linger in my heart, like that will keep hurting me. So I was like, thank you for being the bestest friend that, you know, you were, and I hope we reconnect and all. And then I moved out here to California in January. Right when I graduated, ended school. I ended school in December 2019, and I came out here like not even 2 weeks, like maybe 2 weeks of break, and then I came out here and I felt really lonely. I had really bad anxiety, and I was at the family friend's house when I first messaged her. This was, I think, around what, March? I think it was around
April.
Okay.
Oh, no. Were you talking about when you came back to California? Or
no. I'm talking about, hey, let's connect and like let's FaceTime soon. You were
that was in April. Yeah.
Actually, I don't know. I think it was March or April, because you were still in school and actually I was still in California.
Oh, you're talking about the texting. Yeah.
And you were like,
March.
She was like,
and I said,
let's definitely reconnect when I'm done with school. Cause
when I'm done with school, look, literally I had 10 classes, 22 credits. That thing was working and it was online the first time. That was rough. I was like, you know what? Look, I haven't stopped like I did before. When I tell you I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it. So,
but the thing is like, I thought she was maybe like, because there's a lot of people.
It was hard. It was hard.
Also, like when you talk to people that you're not close with, they're like, and you're like, oh, let's meet up, and like you never meet up, you never reconnect, and that's what I felt like. But then, when the pandemic shut down, I don't know who messaged who, but I think I did, and I was like, it was basically about, hey, let's set up a time to FaceTime. Are you down? And to be honest, I was scared because of rejection.
Girl, I was nervous of trying to decide what.
Because she was taking the longest to respond, and I'm like, oh, like I think she's gonna say, I never no. Do that, but
but I had to think about it.
And then she agreed though, and then
I did. Yeah.
What was it? We set a date. It was a Friday. I was back.
Friday.
Yeah.
Say 6 o'clock.
Yeah, it was back I was in Ohio, and I was afraid too, because I'm like, ooh, like it may be awkward. You know, maybe this conversation will only last 10 minutes. But girl, you can explain.
I would gladly, because the thing was, she put it in my ball court, and I was like, ooh, okay, nah. And then I went to my mom. I was like, so should I just wait for her to do something? She's like, well, how did it go? She's like, well, we can do it at any time. And she's like, oh, well, since she said that, she talking about you. So you need. I was like, oh, okay. And then, you know, after I was pretty much around the closing time of my graduation and stuff. And I was like, all right, today is the day. And before I pressed the button, I was like, okay, wait a minute, Krista. How this is going to go down? Like, what are you going to say? How are things going to go? What is she going to do? What is she going to say? How are we going to even... it had so much questions in my head. And I was afraid that, you know, it was going to be one of those things where when you haven't seen best friends, or if you haven't seen friends, period, in a long time, and they just happen to come back, they just go like, hey. I didn't know if it was... I was nervous it was going to be like that. So
yeah,
I was
actually, I didn't think you were gonna call, but yeah.
Girl, I would never.
And then, but anyways, we got on the call, and girl, we called at what, around 5-6 o'clock.
Yeah, and the nerves went away in 2 seconds. Listen, it was like, hey, how you doing? Hey, how you?
Like, child, we didn't get off the phone until 2 a.m. and then
2 a.m.
And like,
2
you know, I'm just sitting on the couch like, hey, yeah. Good girl. Guess what happened? Oh, yeah, let me tell you.
Ooh.
Exactly.
It was all of that. Yeah, because at first I was literally, the reason why I was kind of hesitant, even though it was that time, because I was like, okay, I'm really about to know. And once I pressed the button, when I tell you, I never heard my heart. Like, it was like, and I was like, oh shoot. And when it said connecting, I almost went out, because I was like, oh shoot.
Yeah, it was really nerve-wracking, I think, for both of us.
Whew.
But
As soon as we felt, we felt each other, try to see, how things went, and it just.
Yeah, and actually, when we cut off, I don't know who said what, but, I think it may have been you, but when we were cutting off, like, if God wants us to reconnect, it will happen. And so I didn't know when, especially last year. I was excited. I wanted it to happen then. But it's funny because that fell in place this year, but as well as other things fell. Life happens.
See?
Yes, life happens, with some of the people you have in your life. There are people that are gonna be their lifetime, and then there are people that are gonna be come and go. And I will say, like, you lose and you gain. And I lost. I did lose some friendships because, it was just toxic. And we will talk about that next week.
And the thing is, like, I have to say, it's almost like I said, God knows when to put things in place. Because listen, we were in a pandemic where we were alone, we ain't had nobody, but he couldn't have planned a perfect time to reconnect us in a time that we needed to be each other the most. You know what I'm saying? But also,
also, like, with the friends that you have and the friendships that you have.
Oh, and it goes the other way too.
It will show, like, this pandemic showed the true colors, because I will say the friends that I was friends with, I'm not gonna mention their names, but it showed their true colors. And it's like, when I needed help in that time, and like, that friend to just listen, they weren't there for me. I'm not gonna go too deep into it because it's gonna be next week's topic.
But there's one thing to be together all the time, but then there's another thing when you're in a different atmosphere. And that's the truth. See, also, we have good things in the pandemic, but also there's something that's like, God did this because it's like a true test. Y'all know how y'all are when y'all together. Can y'all do the same thing when y'all apart? That's the question.
Yeah.
And we'll let you know that answer.
Exactly. And that I'm gonna just be real. That friend saw us reconnect, and she probably thinks that that's the reason why we probably cut off, but it wasn't.
Oh, no.
And she actually, when we, got into the deep discussion, she kept bringing up Crystal up. And that's one thing. Do not bring other people up in a conversation when it's not your business, when you don't really know what's exactly happening. And if you do care, you should have asked, like, what is going on in your life. But
she was defending me.
Oh, yeah. I was like, don't you be there, bringing in Crystal. I will say, when we were friends in high school, I did not. She defended me.
Now, listen.
I got her in trouble.
Listen. I didn't give up on her when people wanted me to. You understand? Because there's so much things going in my head. People saying, well, she's doing this and this and this, and she's doing it. Why are you telling me this? I know she done it to me. How you gonna tell me what I experienced?
Like, yeah, actually, we had an internship together, and I blamed it on her.
That's another story. Listen,
I was bad, and like I felt really bad actually afterwards. I never said sorry. I'm sorry, but like. But like
several years later,
like what was it? Yeah, 3 years later. So but yeah, and but anyways, yeah, don't bring up someone else into the conversation. Yeah, people actually got jealous of our friendship, and it's all.
And no, not even that, but like when people were saying like, you know, shoot, I ain't gonna be blah 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 with somebody like that. I said, all right. Let me tell you this. Let me riddle you this, though. You see what you see right now. You see a moment. You see the things that you see up front. But did you ever take the time to really, like, stop and really get to understand the person that she is, to know more than just what you see right there? That's the part where you cut off, because you can't tell me something if you haven't experienced it yourself. So why would I listen to somebody who only sees one side of things when you haven't seen the layers? So it's like, yes, I know she's doing this. I understand that. But in order for you to really judge and to really like see if this is who she is for real, then you can say something to me. But that's not what y'all did. So you can't base upon what you saw every time you come to school. I've been with her at home. I've been through her at her home. I've been around her family. I got to talk with her, have discussions with her. And the fact is, I figured out that she was a woman of God. I'm like, well, what all do I need? So why are you coming up? You didn't even know all that. You didn't even know all that.
Our friendship, like even my mom said, like, you can't compare your friendship with Crystal with your other friends, because there's just such like a deep understanding, and I think because of the situations and everything that we've gone through, and we have a lot of similarities, but there's some things as a good friend where you can compare. If you do find a best friend, you know, that you can, you know, just be real.
And be free to express yourself. Not to be acting like something you're not, or try to conserve yourself because you feel like if you go out too much that they're going to say something. That's not what it is. It shouldn't be like that.
Yeah, so it's, when you find that friend, like, keep them for life. Don't take them for granted.
Please.
Because you never know. You know, like Chadwick, man, he passed away, and I'm like, bruh.
Wow.
Bruh. And he was a person of faith, and I know he's up in heaven, but literally out of nowhere, no one knew he had cancer, and he just died out of nowhere, or people just die out of nowhere. So really, you know, don't take things for granted.
Yeah, and some people can ruin a great thing because of their own fears and because of their own situations. And you put it upon somebody that's not even related to them, you know? And then that goes, you can't do that. That's when you know you don't need to move on. If something is going wrong with you, that's when a friend is supposed to be like, what's going on, blah, 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 blah. Don't run away from it. They're trying to be the friend to you, you know?
Right. So just, if you really do find that friend, you know, really keep that friendship. And if they are like the best friend that they are, you know, you can compare some of like what makes them a good friend and compare it to the friendships,
pros and cons.
Your other friendships. Yes. I wouldn't say like, you know, compare of like, oh, well, she did this for me. No, I would just say what makes that person a good friend. And like you know, it's like, it's giving. and
It's
taking
give and
as
take.
well.
Right. It's a
Yeah.
give and take relationship. You know, you
Mhm.
can't just be, and this is the part where I'm talking about the next week, because you got somebody who's gonna take, and like things are good when everything's okay, but then when they're in the wrong, it's like, oh no, you're wrong about this. No, I don't like that. Well,
Yeah, and and I'm gonna talk a little bit about it. Like it's kind of like a preview,
Yeah.
but yeah, I was going through something, and when I realized that they were being toxic to me and I needed to cut that off, then they blamed that on me. And it wasn't about who was right and who was wrong. It was about my health concern. It was about, hey, do you want the best for me?
and I finally have a voice to
Yes.
say what I'm saying and how I feel to you, and I want you to acknowledge that. Understand
and
where I'm coming from.
respect it.
Yes, respect,
And
definitely respect.
so, but life happens. I mean, I won't say like that person is bad. I won't say, the church that I went to was bad. It was just my experience, my relationship with those that I didn't want to put up with.
Yeah.
And there are some things that you should and shouldn't put up with.
No.
And as well as for next week's topic, also forgiveness. Forgiveness is not for the other person. Forgiveness is for you.
Oh.
It's for you to heal.
Yeah.
And when somebody does you wrong.
Yeah.
Okay?
Because once you love yourself, then you know what love you need and what you don't need. You know? Because once you figure that out for yourself, you know how to react to it when you catch something wrong.
Yeah. So, and we're gonna go deep into it next week.
Yeah.
And we're gonna get real, and we're going to, I'm going to reveal everything, not out of revenge, but out of experience,
and what you can learn from it,
and what you can learn from it, because it's kind of messed up. It's ridiculous, like messed up.
Yes.
And sometimes you can't see it until the end. But anyways, so that
goes to this. Also in the Bible, it talks about somebody that has like a wooden thing in their eye, and they trying to get the person's dust out of somebody else's eye. It's like, why are you trying to deal with somebody else's eye, and you got your own situation that you need to deal with?
Yeah.
Like, it's like that. It's like, stop trying to deal with somebody else's problem. Fix yourself first. Then
check yourself.
Yeah.
Because so I had to, I also have to check myself too. So but sometimes also you can't just lie to yourself, because if you keep lying to yourself, you're gonna believe those lies that you say yourself.
And it's gonna affect the other person too in your life.
Yeah, so we just wanted to share our story. If y'all petty that we are friends,
okay.
love to you. It's okay.
I love her anyway, so
yes, we need to love each other through the love of Christ. And like God does, give second chances.
Exactly, yeah.
And also we're human beings too. But we just want to share our stories and experiences and music and a lot other things that are to come. And we are excited. So we will be uploading every Friday. Subscribe.
Push that like button. Push that like button.
Share, okay? Have a blessed week, y'all.
Yeah.
And see you soon.
See y'all.
Bye.
Bye.